What's up, everybody, and welcome to the show. As always, I am Camtastic. Thank you guys for joining us this week. We've got our co-hosts, Nico, Mexidelight, and Julian, the Magician, MTG. How are you guys doing this week?
Doing pretty well. Excited for our first podcast and 4-day weekend with 4th of July. So, that's awesome as well.
Yeah, I keep forgetting
Yeah,
about that.
also excited for us to do our first podcast. A little nervous being in front of the camera, but I'm ready.
I always forget that. I'm so used to I remember my first time when I was streaming and stuff like that. It's very nerve wracking. Um, I know one piece of advice I was going to give Nico for streaming is you got to get in the habit of talking out loud, like what you're doing,
Yeah,
which feels weird when you're not streaming because you're just sitting there talking out loud to yourself. You're like, this is weird, but
totally.
yeah,
I
it's
feel
fun.
like I emote all the time. My wife is always telling me how she can overhear when I'm watching videos or laughing at content or something like that. So, yeah.
Nice, very audible about things.
I can
That's cool.
totally understand being nervous though too. I am a little bit, but I do even not necessarily public speaking, but I have to talk a lot in front of people at work and everything. So yeah, feels a little bit natural.
That's good.
The nervousness comes from just being excited also. Also the public speaking aspect and being a judge also, I have to be able to do that in front of groups of people. So
Yeah,
it
Mr.
does.
L1 judge, you should be used to that.
Yeah, I am. It's just like I said, nervous jitters.
He doesn't get to yell right here. That's the
Right.
difference.
Yeah. This week, I think for our first podcast, we could talk about our origin stories, how we got started in Magic, and kind of our life cycle up until this point, and then talk about the local Speed Age tournament that we have coming up next Saturday, and what we're doing to prepare, and our commanders.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Uh, I'm just going to get us started then. So, my quick origin story I started back in 1998 with the release of Urza Saga. And I remember going into a GameStop with a buddy of mine that I met through Boy Scouts actually. Bought the Somnifor Precon as well as some packs. And then we went and sat in the food court. Yeah, it's Black Blue Demir before Demir was even Demir. And everybody called Black Blue Bruiser decks. And so we sat in the food court, cracked open, and I don't think it was a pre-con now that I say it. It was like one of those 60 card starter boxes with three rares, six uncommons, or whatever it was, and then a bunch of commons and some lands. And he helped me put together my first deck. And then I was playing with people in Boy Scouts. I had some friends at school that were playing, and yeah, had a couple outlets for it. So played for several years through middle school actually, and I remember doing the seventh edition pre-release tournament, and I pulled a foil Birds of Paradise. And
Ooh.
for those who may not know, seventh edition is white border, except the foil cards are black border. So first ever foil Birds of Paradise, I sold it that day for $100. Thought I was rich, and
Yeah,
sad face now. It's a $3,000 card. So
Oof.
wish I would have hung on to it, but you never know back in the day, right?
Yeah, $100 back then was like $3,000 today.
Right, especially for a middle schooler. So whatever, sixth grade, seventh grade, something like that.
You're like, this is
Maybe
so
eighth
many
grade at that point.
packs.
Right. Uh, but then the classic story: Magic wasn't cool. I got out of it in high school, but I always played video games to stay connected through all the video game versions. And then got back into paper Magic in 2020, right before COVID. And had no idea how COVID was going to impact things. But luckily, we had an LGS here in Fresno, Cali, where he stayed open, let everybody play, and then discovered EDH and never looked back.
pretty sweet. Pretty
Sounds about
sweet.
right.
Yeah, the
Old
I
man
can kind
story.
of picture those boxes. Did they have the intermediate and expert level
Yep,
on
exactly.
dedication? Yeah,
Yep,
I remember
yep,
those.
yep. I It's a
Sweet.
funny side note. I ended up working at that GameStop later on in high school for a little while too. That was in the
Oh,
mall.
nice. What about you, Cam?
I started when I was on an away trip. I used to coach water polo, and I had some of the players were playing They were all a bunch of nerds, and they were playing in between games, and I was just curious about it. Somebody who played Yu-Gi-Oh in middle school. I used to play on the school bus and stuff, and we'd play like a lot. And yeah, they taught me how to play the game. I thought it was really cool. I liked it, liked the complexity of it. And immediately when I got home, I ran home and showed my brother how to play. And we kind of started like just playing with our friends, tabletop. Going to Collector's Paradise. Getting a stack of this mini cards for $1 and be like, oh my god! Like I remember thinking like, oh, I really need to cultivate for my deck, but it was like $1.25, and I was like, fuck that! Like I can get a stack of cards this big for that. I'm not buying that. And oh boy, how that has changed. Yeah, so then from there, I started playing Modern because I wanted to play like I kind of was pub stomping my group a little bit, so I wanted to play like a little bit higher level. So I found out that there was like local tournaments in town, and I found out that my tribal deck was legal in Modern. I didn't want to have to like go and buy a bunch of stuff for Standard and stuff, so I just went and played that with my brother, and from there we just kind of learned about the format. Yeah, and then started playing like we pretty much off the bat started playing competitively, and then after Modern we'd play Commander. Commander kind of wasn't a thing. It was just kind of this janky format that was made almost like make believe. Like we played it at the shop, we'd kind of heard about it, through the grapevine, and then I remember we would just play cards like Psych Rift and Ristic Study, and nobody would bitch and moan about them because they were actually like considered doo doo cards, and like I don't know, they're like $3 cards, and it was just fun learning Commander and just like growing with it. And this was like around 2014, 2015. So it's been really cool just watching Commander become what it is, because we've seen so many other formats like Tiny Leaders and like Pre-Modern and like a bunch of other stuff that's just kind of like Oathbreaker. Like,
So yeah, like back when I started playing it, Commander, Modern, Pioneer, none of that was a thing. It was literally Type 1 and Type 2. And I forget which was which now, but one of them is like, everything is viable with whatever the reserve list, ban list was at the time. And then Type 2 is, I think, what the modern day equivalent of Standard would be.
Yeah,
where
I
it's just
believe
like the current, few most recent sets are what's legal.
Yeah, I believe Type 2 was the more modern stuff, the stuff that's recently come out, which is equivalent to Standard, and then Type 1 was your legacy slash like vintage for
Yeah.
modern day terms.
Yeah. So when I got back in paper in 2020 and I learned all these different formats, I was like super overwhelmed. Didn't really realize what Commander was. I was buying 4 ofs of things that you really only need 1 ofs for Commander for EDH. And yeah, definitely. I feel like I enjoy Commander much more than the other 60 card formats these days myself.
me too. Yeah, like Commander used to just be the thing that we'd play in between rounds, and that we'd play like after the shop closed when we all wanted to BS around, eat food, and just like take it slow or whatever. And now it's just become like everything. Everything Magic is Commander pretty much.
Definitely. All right, Magician, what's your story?
So it starts in the Wii years when Pokemon came out back in '97. That's where I started my trading card game kind of journey. Was collecting, didn't really know how to play. Eventually, we moved from my hometown here to Fresno. I found a card shop and learned how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! That started my journey on competitive trading card games. I was playing in local tournaments, and then someone said, "Hey, you should try out Magic." So my first ever pre-release was a World Wake pre-release. Um, we didn't really have a judge at the time, so no one explained to me how to build a limited deck. So I knew from playing that it was a 60 card deck, so that's what I built with my pack. Um, but I did pull the chase card. Can you guys guess what the chase card was in World Wake?
Oh, from World Wake? Is that
Uh,
the
Jace, the
original?
Mind Sculptor.
Yes, I
Oh,
pulled.
okay.
I was the only one that pulled. It was a non-foiled Jace. I still have that exact Jace to this day in a binder. But I built a Grixis pile because I couldn't do a 2 color pile with the cards to make a 60 card deck. So I had to do a 60 card Grixis pile, and I got to use Jace. And so from there,
I'm literally looking at Jace because I don't remember which one that is. There's so many of them.
It's the
it's
scary
the
one.
original. It's the original 4 ability planeswalker.
Okay. Ah, yes.
Plus
Yes.
2 Fate Seal.
0 is
-1
Brainstorm.
is -1 is unsummoned. 0 is a brainstorm, and -12
Got it.
is you exile your library and your graveyard becomes your deck. You shuffle it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, so many Jaces. I was never a Jace player myself, but I was always like green red. Green red was my jam for a long time.
Yeah.
So once I got into competitive Magic, I was playing Standard mostly to build up my collection, and then I got into Modern. I love Modern. I was a grinder for Modern for a really long time, and I always thought that Commander was just or EDH as it was in the beginning wasn't even Commander. EDH was just a casual format, and I didn't want to play the casual format because I was a grinder. So I never gave it a chance at the beginning, but now it's CEDH is life now. I do still participate in Pioneer. That's my favorite 60 card format now. So come RCQ season, hopefully next year, because Wizards decided to not give us one this year. I will be playing 60 card Pioneer next year. But CEDH is definitely where I get to scratch my itch for competitive Magic.
Sure. And now there's definitely some distinguishing differences coming out for CDH and TEDH, right? I just watched a couple different podcasts on that. It's kind of interesting to help just differentiate for different players.
Sorry, my camera got a little blurred, or a little out of autofocus there. But yeah, there is a distinct thing. I'm glad that it's being brought to the attention of people because CEDH is getting a bad rap, and it kind of sucks that we have this bracket system, and now we're also like having to distinguish like a bracket within a bracket. But I mean,
It's like bracket 6 of sorts, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because you're playing, yeah, it's while you're playing competitively, which is the goal of CDH, you're playing for a different ultimate goal. We can have games of CEDH last 2-3 hours or whatever because we're just chilling there trying to find a winner. Whereas like now a new thing that we've all been doing is proposing draws because draws are worth something in TDH. Whereas in like CDH where we're just kicking it with the homies, like draws are worth nothing. Like you get no bragging rights from draws.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to brag that you presented a draw basically, but that's it.
Yeah,
We've
exactly.
all had at least one or two scenarios of presenting a draw just within the last month or so, right?
I think we're getting better at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an instance a couple weeks ago where I had 2 opponents. One of them was going for, I believe it was Brewmaster, Devoted Druid combo, and opponent next to him decided to put a Court of Calling on the stack to try and win on top of them. And I showed a Pact of Negation, and I said I can either counter this spell, which is the Chord, and he wins, or I don't counter and the Chord player wins. So do you guys want to draw? And it worked.
Got him.
No loss on my record.
Yeah, it just count as nothing too. That's another thing too, is it counts towards. I know like a lot of us are tracking win rates now, which I thought more people did that. Whenever I write stuff down, people are always like, "Oh, what you writing down there?" And I'm like,
I had a couple
wins
people
and
ask
lost?
me that last night, actually, when we were doing our LGS CDH stuff, and I was like, "Oh yeah, play nice, track your wins, your keeping hand, all that stuff." They thought that was interesting, so I think I convinced a couple more people to start doing that as well.
We probably look hella sweaty. Like all of a sudden, like our group comes in and starts playing like on Wednesdays, and we're like, "Hey, what's up, guys? We just started playing," and then we're like whipping out shit, writing it down, and all of us are consistently like top 4ing and shit. Like
Like taking pictures with our.
I was gonna say the same thing. I have a bunch of opening hand pictures or keeping hand pictures on my phone that I got to go back and plug in for sure.
Yeah,
I did that in Vegas. I had probably 11 or 12 games that I had to go back and input the opening hands. So
Cam, what'd you do to your
Speaking
camera, dude?
It's bugging me, dude. I rocked back in my chair and then it like autofocused and now it's like and it's bugging the shit out of me. Normally you can just like do this and then like back away slowly and it'll refocus or whatever, but I don't know. It is what it is at this point.
Yep.
At least I can
So
lean
actually,
back now.
speaking of the LGS that we play at on Wednesdays, um, our home store is Clovis Cards and Comics with an X at the end, and
X
they
gonna
are
give it to
doing
you.
yeah, X gonna give it to you. They are doing a CDH tournament on July 12th, and prizes are because we hit
These
our
prizes
cap,
are
which is
juicy, man. I'm totally excited for this prize pool. Whether I get some or not, I just want to see how excited everybody is to get these awesome prizes. But tell us what
yeah.
they are, man.
So they're offering a Guru Forest for first. There is an LED or lion's eye diamond, two gilded drakes from is that Odyssey?
Gilded Drake is Urza
Yeah,
Saga
Saga. And I believe there may or may not be a Grim Monolith also in the prize pool.
versus
And then
Legacy.
obviously, a lot of store credit and stuff like that. We were originally going to cap it at 40, but we got such a um, resounding response to the first tournament and the local store being highly supported from our players, and so we opened it up for 8 more players, and so we are now 100% capped at 48 players. So pretty excited for that, especially because it's the first CEDH tournament of this size in at least the Fresno Clovis area. I don't know if it's the entire Central Valley.
Is that a
That's
gold
actually a
level
good
event?
point. I didn't think about that. What was that, Cam?
Is it a gold level event? Do we know? I don't know what the numbers. I don't know what the numbers are on that.
I don't know off the top of my head.
And thank God for the increase to the 48 cap because I missed the first sign up to get on the waiting list.
Yeah, that was clutch.
Yeah.
Was too. I'm glad everybody was able to get in locally.
I'm super curious to see who's traveling into Fresno for this. If we're going to get anybody from LA or San Fran areas or anything like that, it'd be pretty cool if we did.
Same. And
Yeah,
if not, then like
I guess
48 locals. That's crazy.
That's also a
yeah.
bit impressive for sure.
Yeah, and it's a fully
Now,
property friendly event too, which also entices a lot of people to come and play too, because our locals, you know, the three of us, thankfully, we have every card in our deck that we own, and most of them are max quality, max max foiling. But a lot of
shiny
players,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. A lot of players in our locals can't afford a guy, can't play with a Gaia's Cradle or even or dual lands and things like that. So it's really nice that we can do a fully proxy event, which opens up the doors for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
I don't know if we count this as a prize, but isn't there a giveaway to all players of a playmat? Did that actually happen for this or no?
Yes, so first place, there is a playmat that specifically says champion. This and oh, I forgot to plug the name of it. This is the All Valley Championship, All Valley CEDH Championship. And so we had a playmat designed by someone that Cam actually knows personally, and so he designed the mat. And there's a champion mat, a second, third, and fourth mat that just does this the same thing, but it doesn't say champion. And then I believe we have 60 playmats available that are generic for it.
Okay. Cam, I thought you actually designed it yourself, so
No,
that's
I'm
news to
not
me.
that good. It is a
Okay.
coworker of mine who's a tattoo artist, and he
Ah,
yeah he designed it. Um,
okay.
I should have had it prepared to bring up here on stream, but I don't. So oh well. It's really cool though.
Depending on your editing Ganas, maybe you can throw an overlay or something like that.
Yeah, it's really cool though. He's gotten a lot of compliments on it and stuff because people don't know it's going to be the playmat, but they've seen the art because it is the backdrop for the tournament sign up page, and a lot of people were like, "Hey, just signed up for the tournament. The art on that page looks really cool." And then somebody was like, "Yeah, is it going to be a playmat?" And people were like, "Yeah." So like, I think people are going to be really stoked about it. I'm super stoked about it because I really wanted the playmat and pushed for it because I'm a playmat kind of guy. But
Yeah, you are.
yeah, I think it's going to be cool. I think
How many gold Sabertooth playmats do you have, Cam?
I have three gold saber tooth
Okay.
playmats. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to get one of those for Atraxa. I saw it today and thought it was pretty cool.
the Sephiroth the Traxel one is gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish his
I
shipping
was
wasn't so much.
Yeah, I was in his stream. Me and Cam and I were in his stream while he was designing it. It was pretty cool to see his work and how he does it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tournament should be good.
Yeah, I'm very. This is going to be my first ever turn, like as far as like CEDH tournament.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've actually only played. Last night was my third ever CDH event.
Okay.
So, and I've top four all of them.
Yep.
So, suck it. No, I'm just kidding. I really want to top four this one. I think it'd be really cool. I need to. I want to, compare myself to people outside of our play group.
Yeah.
Somewhere where my cradle can flourish.
I feel like we don't let your cradle survive in our local meta for sure.
Yeah.
Gaia's cradles are unchecked these days. It needs to change.
It's gonna make t-shirts. That'll be their first in response t-shirts. Check cradle.
I feel like I've done at least 4 or 5 organized CDH events. I've done 2 Mox Masters that's put on by the Playing with Power guys, and then a couple local ones over the years as well. So
Hell
this
yeah.
this is probably going to be number 5, maybe number 6 for me. Be good.
Will this be the biggest?
Definitely the biggest by at least 8 or 10 people. Well, no, never mind. Mox Masters has what 128 or something as the cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mox Masters, the old Mox Masters, because right now they are running like a weekly series on Thursdays, but this is not the same thing. This was on Saturdays.
Yeah, I was doing it when they were doing them monthly, but in terms of in person, this will definitely be the biggest one.
Yeah, same here. My biggest in person one. I've done a few other locals at a different LGS before our current LGS CCC was even hosting or even open. So I was going to a different store, and now I work there part time. So
Sell
I
out.
can't participate. I can't participate on our Wednesday nights. So this will be I'll be shaking off a lot of dust round 1.
He's going in
There you
raw,
go.
man.
Yeah. That I didn't even think of that. Yeah, you haven't been able to play since you're working there, huh?
Yeah. Just with us, man. Just with us. And I've been telling everybody his secrets.
So speaking of secrets, do you guys want to get into who you're playing and go into a couple little short explanations of stuff in your deck?
Yeah, for sure. I'll kick us off again since I started with the background story as well. So currently, I'm running Atraxa Grand Unifier, or more specifically, Sephiroth the Savior. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan in general, so this last set release was quite amazing, and being in Vegas for MagicCon with all the Final Fantasy stuff was pretty awesome. And my chase card that I wanted to buy was the new foil Sephiroth one, which I found a copy of. So now I'm on Atraxa, 4-color Sans Red. With the recent bans losing Dockside, I feel like going Sans Red is much more viable these days than it was previously. And I've gotten away from Kinnan. Kinnan was my first CDH deck. Played Turbo Kinnan, House of Mirrors with Twister Loops. Not big flip Kinnan, but Kinnan's changed a lot, and got a little bored with it. So yeah, running 4-color Atraxa these days. Looking forward to it.
Nice. I think it's in a good place. I like the deck a lot. People meme on Food Chain, but it's becoming like one of those things where like it was a meme at first. People were like, oh, food chain wins games. You know, like hey, sometimes food chain will win a game, and now it's like food chain wins games. Fucking kill that shit.
Yeah, Prosh was huge for a long time with Food Chain. That was even before I got back in. So I learned the hard way how quickly Prosh can win, and enjoyed Food Chain, and never did a Food Chain deck up until now. So
we have
been playing this only maybe a month now, so I'm still pretty fresh at the Atraxa build.
Nice. We have a food chain fan in chat. Stoked and butt. Food chain wins games. Thanks for dropping by.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. What are you on, Magician? What are you cooking up in the kitchen?
So I am running Tevish Zot and Thrasios,
Nice.
aka Tentacle Sushi. So it is also a Guy's Cradle deck. I've kind of tooled it to be like on a scale of 1 to 10. It's kind of like on a 7 for like that turbo cradle builds that people have been running recently. I've got a lot of interaction in the deck and flash enablers, so it's a deck to try to win on top of people, but also can just try and jam a Thoracle, Decon, or TP, turn 2, turn 3, if it just so happens to be available.
I'm going to tell everybody to not let you get into the mid range and late game, because you just tend to take off and uncontrollable at that point.
Nobody ever touches your cradle. Just saying.
Nope. No, I don't label myself as turbo, so I just value cradle.
That is true. So, yeah. Plus, Cam, your win rate right now, we gotta cut you off of that, man.
Yeah, for real.
It's Tay. Yeah. Tay's the problem, not me.
But this wasn't my first CDH deck. Mexi, you were talking about, this isn't your first either. You started with Kinnan. You also have Karkashima still, right?
That is true. I forgot to mention that. That's kind of my. I don't know if that would be fringe, but it's certainly not like an S tier, maybe an A tier. What's funny about that is I originally built Karkashima to learn how to play it, to better learn how to play against it. And then I had so much fun with Manual Storm, and I'd never really done the Is It thing before, that I've just kept it together. And now the hard debate is with the VV out. Do you mainline VV? But I've got it in the 99 right now. So as I get tired of big brain Atraxa, I'll go over to Karkashima, because that's not big brain.
Yeah, right? That's small brain. Small brain Karkashima.
Right. A little counterintuitive there, but that's how I roll.
Checks out.
Yeah, my first CDH deck was Kess, Dissident Mage, so a Grixis control deck, utilizing Thoracle, Decon, and Underworld Breach. And then I moved over to Food Chain Prosh, tried to get away from blue. That lasted a little while.
I was gonna say
not too long. Eventually, then I started getting into back into blue, and I really haven't looked back. So blue is my color.
We got to get you on a Naya deck one of these days.
I was thinking Voja. I like Voja.
I like Rocco for Naya.
Yeah, Rocco. I've seen some good stuff with that. I'm looking up Voja here now because I don't remember it offhand. Oh,
it's kind of like a tribal deck. Yeah, wolf and elves. What about you, Cam? What are you taking in for next weekend?
I am running Dog Thras. So that has been kind of my pet deck for the last, since February. So 4 months now. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Your pet deck?
Yep, my pet deck.
Doggy Paddle, right?
Doggy Paddle, yeah. That's the name Julian came up with. Magician. I've been running it for the past about 4 months now, since Fishbowl. I kind of went on a journey, like a soul searching journey, to find my deck that I really wanted to hone in on, because I was playing Karkashima and I was playing that for a long time, and I really honed in on that. But then somebody else in our play group started playing it, and I was like, oh, I can't really be playing it.
Was that me?
Oh, I wasn't calling anyone out, or I didn't use any names, but um,
Hey,
so,
you just knew that I was the superior Krakashima player, and you had to back away from it, right?
yeah, and the mirror matches are just
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
horrible.
We can't just what's the word I'm looking for? We can't just discount Tanner
That is
and what
true.
happened on my birthday this year.
You loved that 3-on-1 Krakashima pod.
It
It
was
was
great.
amazing.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Three Karkashimas versus my Niv Mizzet Visionary. So we had a full Is It pod, and yeah, the joke was three Karkashimas, and I was not in on it until after.
That's right. You didn't even know until we all like
Sat down.
started turn one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, so I played Blood Pod for a long time, for a few months actually, and then shifted to Omnath. I wanted to throw some blue in there, and I just really like the ETB stuff. The mulligans with Omnath were very difficult, and so I decided I needed Thrasios in the command zone. So I went with Dawnwaker, and then I was like, why am I even playing red? I got like 3 red cards in the deck, so I should go Bant. And Yoshi just makes the most sense over like Ishai or any of the other partner commanders. Having a turn 1 Yoshi with a Mox Amber or Fierce Guardianship online. Obviously, 1 mana is a lot more than 0 mana for Rog, but 1 mana is a lot less than a lot of other commanders out there.
Well, plus Yoshi grows. I think average. As I've paid attention to, like a 3/3 or 4/4 for 1 mana, and then
Yeah,
easy Neoform, pod bait type of stuff.
pretty much. And the deck like does everything that I want to. My main modern deck back in the day was this 5-color Bring to Light Quarter Calling deck brew that I had. And so this kind of like calls back to that. I really like doing creature lines. I like having multiple lines and avenues and combo pieces that overlap. I feel that gives me the ability to really pull wins out of my ass, like at any point. Like there's a lot of times where I'm just like, oh, I'm backed into a corner. Like I need to win on this turn. Oh, cool. Here's the line to that. I feel like it's got enough room for customization. I know you guys are big on that too. None of us like to really play the top deck because we like to play a little bit fringe or lower tier, something that's got room for TNK. There's like 5 cards, like 5 flex slots maybe, whereas each of us probably have 15 flex slots based on different lists and metas and stuff. So that's why I landed here, and I've been trying to hone in on this deck ever since, and it feels really good going into this tournament. I think it's in a really good place.
Boro Breeze Collar is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, and I think white is better than red right now. I know Breach is very, very good, but I think Silence Effects are king, and we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, we'll see how I do with this tournament because I'm also previously I was on TNT, Thrasios and Timna, and I might have to go back because just white having Grand Abolisher, Silence, Ranger Captain, Voice of Victory, like that's a lot of silence effects, and being able to and Kutzel, so 5 silence effects. So having all of those and having access to them to just value them out or tempo them out, aside from the Abolisher. Actually, Nico, what do we not do?
Play Teferi and pass turn. That's a bad idea. Don't do that. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking that game. That was terrible. Just handed it to a different player for sure.
Everybody learns that lesson with Teferi and Dosen at one point in time.
Yeah, Dosen too. Yep, that's another rough one.
Yeah, I'm on Dosen for myself right now, but I'm kind of modeling it after another local Sultai player in our group, but Thomas. He's a very, very, very capable pilot. He's been playing Thrasios and the Deer food chain with hoarding Broodlord line combos, and he plays Dosen very, very well. And so I've been trying to learn from him on how to do Dosen properly, because
Yes.
in Sultai I don't have a lot of silence effects. So.
Well, so Cam, we were talking about this upcoming tournament. What's some of the deck tech you're thinking about? Some slot changes. You got anything on the mind?
Yeah, all right. I've kind of been thinking to get a little spicy with it. I actually might take out Gear Hulk, Devoted Druid, and Swift Reconfiguration.
What?
Oh, what?
Gear Hulk too?
Yep.
Whoa.
I might take the package out. I
Wow.
think I've got enough other lines to go for to where I'd like a few more support cards in the deck. I've taken out Will of the Mardu. I really like that card. I like to slot it back in. There's a lot of stacks in our meta. I know we've at least got one Winota player, one Tyon player, and if Wes plays Winota, that's two Winota players. So and
We
then
might actually have three Winota.
and with all of the opposition agents running around, those cards really shut down my deck, and I need to get rid of them.
Oppo?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
You
know
are
if you're.
you are tutor heavy, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so I need a lot of voice for removal, um, but yeah, it's between that and then just the Oculus. I've been really pumping out the Oculus. Oh no, there we go. You look at he's flashing it in.
Yeah, right. You just have your deck in front of you or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I
Trying to figure out stuff here.
So slotted Oppo back in. Yeah, we have Modern Hippie in chat. Slotted Oppo back in. More thing. I'm assuming that's Thomas said. Thank you for the kind words. Thanks for dropping by, guys. We appreciate you hanging out on the podcast with us. Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm going to lean heavily into Oculus. That's what I've been trying to do with the deck is lean heavily into Oculus, or it really just depends on the board state. And so I don't know. It's really I've been trying to think about some spicy tech to take, but I feel like my deck is already kind of spicy tech. Like every week, I feel like I've had something new. It's been like, oh, here's a Gearhulk. Oh, here's a Nature's Chosen. Oh, here's a Mardu. Oh, here's like an Apper.
The Oculus these days is ridiculous. Just the way that you
Yeah.
can flip your creatures without any ability for other players to interact, and then your win lines are just creature activations. Tough to
So,
interact with.
so to explain that for people who might not know, so a Born Oculus, on each of your opponent's upkeeps, you manifest Dread. So you'll look at the top two cards of your library, put one into your graveyard, and one of them face down as a 2/2 colorless manifest creature. And so the ability to flip over the creature if it's a creature. Otherwise, you cannot do anything. You pay the mana cost of the creature, and it, as a special action, will flip face up. So you can do that with Grand Abolishers. You can pay two, and on your turn, you have an uncounterable, essentially, Grand Abolisher or Seedborn Muse, things like that. So being able to uncounterably flip a creature is real nice with
Yeah.
Oculus.
With Emil, can you flip the non-creatures as well?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
That's what I thought. I feel
Yeah.
like you pulled that out one day, and I was like, okay, that's not fair.
Yeah, I flipped a Smothering Tithe a couple times. I flipped a Candelabra with a meal. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and that's like kind of what I'm talking about as far as like the overlapping stuff. Like Cloud of Fairies is just a dope ritual sometimes, but it also is a combo piece. Biomancer's Familiar and Training Grounds are just fantastic value for the deck, but they also combo. Like Snap and Ewit are just great cards in the deck, also combo. Boar of Recolor. So it's like it's just I don't know. I like having the versatility in lines and stuff. There's a lot of games where you have to pivot. This meta is very interesting. There's one board wipe can change your entire plan, your entire game plan.
So Cam, back to what you were saying. You're debating pulling out Gearhulk, Devoted Druid, and Swift Recon. Did you mention? Maybe I missed it. What are you thinking about putting in then?
So I'm thinking Will of the Mardu, possibly another clone effect. That clone effect really saved my ass the other night.
Sure. Clones go hard these days. That's for sure.
They do. And then some other piece of either removal or counter magic. I was thinking the Louis Suisse Sacrifice from the Final Fantasy set.
Say it again.
Louis So, right?
Yeah, or Luso. No, it's Luso. That's how you pronounce it.
Luso. Okay, yeah, Luso Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Okay. So talk me through Will of the Mardu. Why that one?
It's excellent removal. I almost always control my commander. It's excellent removal. Holding up 3 mana is not the worst thing in the world, and it's just my board. Like, there's so many Tymna decks out there. Like, even if I'm hitting somebody, like even if there's 3 other creatures, like I probably usually already have 3 myself, and it's like boom, I'm at 6.
Okay.
Every time I've casted it, it's been really good.
Okay. Yeah, and then if you keep your Cradle out, or now since your meta's pushed you into even running Growing Rights, right?
Yeah.
You still get the value for the extra tokens. Nice.
Yep. And then it's all about token count, or it's all about creature count, and that's where Oculus really shines, because for Breeze Caller you need 5 or 6 creatures out, depending how far on the line you're trying to go. For Emil and Derevi, you need 4 creatures out. For Emil and Cloud of Fairies, you also need 4 creatures out. So it's all about getting to that point. For Itlamok, you need 4 creatures out. So it's all about getting to 4+, and then from there you can start like really making the synergies of your deck like churn through.
Okay. And here we go. I found it. Yeah, this is Spellbeard. No wonder I couldn't find it. Louis Soy's Sacrifice.
Yeah, because it's impossible to spell. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. LOUISOIX'.
Yeah,
Somebody
and
please tell us how to pronounce that. I need you to type it phonetically into the comments for us.
Pretty sure it's Luso.
Probably.
Luso.
Luso Sacrifice.
Yeah,
So that's a 1 blue instant. Additional cost to cast is sacrifice a legendary creature or pay 2. Bye Yoshi. Counter target activated ability, triggered ability, or non-creature spell. I love stifle effects like this for sure. You don't find much of them in CDH these days.
Yeah.
Stifle and a negate, like on
Yeah.
like 1 mana, and even with Thrasios, I've considered it myself because of Thrasios. Like it's a lot of people are using Flare Denial and sacrificing their Thrasios. So I mean, a Luso sacrifice, it's still going to do the job that a Flare Denial mostly could.
I'm on Flare of Denial because since I've pivoted away from more and more from the Devoted Druid combo, all my other combos make infinite colored mana, so I can just recast Thrasios. The only time I was really scared to sacrifice Thrasios was on the Devoted Druid combo, because it's like, how do I get blue to recast Thras?
Right.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
The world of
Those seem like
CDH.
good ones.
Wait, what did you say, Cam?
I said the world of CDH, man. It's crazy. It's like 4D chess, man. The levels you have to think about.
4D chess. And you said you weren't a fan of Big Bang Theory the other day. Come on, man.
Yeah, not a fan. What do you guys got? Any spicy tech? What's up, Magician? You got anything for us coming out of your sushi?
Magician.
You know what? I'm gonna really quick pull up my Mox field. So right now I'm kind of in a conundrum. I've been bouncing back and forth between Valley Floodcaller and High Fey Trickster. And talking with you guys, and talking with again Thomas, who's also the other local Sultai player. I just keep going back and forth. So I think what I'm going to land on is swapping the Flood Caller for the Trickster, and I just put back in the Spellseeker. So I'm going to probably try to fit in a Born Upon the Wind as well. And so with that, I've got 2 other flex slots that I'm considering, which is Kitten, which is blasphemy, I know. But that one, Italian, I'm thinking of dropping. There's
been a lot of debate of pulling Displacer Kitten out of decks these days.
I love me some Italian.
So it's without Dockside, mostly it's like Kitten kind of loses a lot, but me not being in red, I still get to flicker now Spellseeker. I get to flicker Eternal Witness. I get to flicker Bowmaster, and I get to flicker Devesh, which is kind of the whole reason why Kitten is in the deck, is to be able to reset Devesh, make more thralls, draw more cards, and keep that chain going. But I'm not running a lot of ETBs, so there is consideration to drop it. And my consideration is some removal in Dismember or Sink into Stupor, Noxious Revival. And then I'm thinking either Oculus. Cam, what do you think?
I think you said Endurance.
Yeah, Endurance, Cloud of Fairies, or just one last oh shit button, which is Mnemonic Betrayal.
Sure.
What about
Betrayal? Could be powerful.
I think Notion Thief should be on that consideration list.
Ocean Thief.
I think
Okay.
Notion Thief is. I think we're in a meta right now that's mid range enough. Like, there's a lot of like, if we're four dropping high phase in there without a problem, I think we can Notion Thief people. I don't know. I'm just saying, if I was in Demir,
Yeah.
I'd give it a shot.
You got a point with the 4 drops. I mean, I struggle to convince myself to run High Fae or Valley Flood Caller. Is Valley Flood Caller 4 drop or 3?
3.
That's
3.
3. Okay. But like High Fae Trickster at the 4 drop, I feel like there's tons of other options. But I'm also not like pushing for the flash or instant speed necessarily all the time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the there's obviously the pros and cons, right? One of them is the mana difference, the mana cost. Valley Floodcaller is has value with Birds of Paradise and with Enduring Vitality. So it allows for like itself to be untap and be a mana creature. High Fate Trickster gives the ability for everything to have flash. So all of my creatures, because a lot of my combos are creature combos, and Valley Floodcaller is only non-creature.
Yeah.
So that's also again the pros and cons of
Yeah.
having both of them. But I do like the suggestion of the Notion Thief.
I think
I
that.
don't, but only because you played Notion Thief a bunch in the past.
Yeah, I think that you definitely do need a flash enabler. I think High Fae is the way to go because a lot of your stuff is creature based now. Because you don't have silence effects, you need to win on top of people. You need to win
Yeah,
over interaction. You need to find your windows whenever you can.
that's a good point. Do you run Born Upon a Wind, Magician?
No, I don't. That is one of the pieces that could be coming in.
I feel like
Like
Born Upon a Wind and Emergent Zone are super powerful these days. I see a lot of people pushing a win on top of somebody else's win attempt.
I'm not on Born Upon, or sorry, I'm not on Emergent Zone. I'm choosing that slot to be my Shifting Woodland because I am a Cryptolith Right and Survival of the Fittest deck. So having the ability to, when those get destroyed or countered, shifting Woodland into them, it will allow me to either produce a shit ton of mana with Cryptolith Rights, or go for a combo kill with Survival of the Fittest. So I do like having that ability in a land, which is uncounterable.
It's
But as
true.
far as spicy tech, I have two, and I'm gonna really quickly just pull them out because they're pretty sweet. I was actually so at MagicCon Vegas. We were in line on Friday morning, and if you don't follow them already, I highly recommend following That's a Good Card podcast. I got to meet Ya from there, and he and I had some conversation about some tech, about cards that we're playing, and I spoke to him about White of the Reliquary.
I
It's
remember you talking about this. Yeah.
Golgari 2/2 Vigilance Zombie Knight that gets +1/+1 for each creature in your graveyard, which both of those typically aren't something that's going to come into effect, except for the Vigilance. It allows you to have a bigger blocker to protect Tavesh. But more importantly, it has a tap, sacrifice another creature, search your library for a land, and put it onto the battlefield tapped. So it's a Golgari way to go find a Cradle,
Or Shifting Woodland.
or Woodland, or Mistrise Village.
Yeah.
No,
Um,
not emergent zone.
Not Emergent Zone.
No, I like that tech. That's pretty sweet.
That is nice. Yeah.
And then my other piece is Colossal Sky Turtle.
It's a good
Gotta love the Sky
card.
Turtle.
Sky Turtle, good card.
Yeah, uncounterable
Have,
interaction to
have
bounce a
either of
creature.
you guys have either of you guys ever actually cast the Sky Turtle as a creature or only ever one of the 2 channels?
I've potted into it a lot in Tassiger.
Okay.
Not in this deck, but in my 5-color Niv Mizzet deck, I've cast it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I personally never did when I ran it in Kinnan, so that's why I was curious.
Did you ever flip into it though?
Um, because I played Turbo Kinnin, I honestly didn't flip or like spin Kinnin until I already had the infinite mana to find the Thrasios. So no, I didn't commonly flip into it. Most of my Kinnin spins were fail to find just because I wasn't a creature heavy deck. Again, this is early Kinnin builds from like 4 or 5 years ago, or
Yeah,
however long ago Ikoria came out.
yeah. There's definitely a lot of different Kinnan builds now too. I think there's spinning Kinnan, there's there's big flips Kinnan, there's turbo Kinnan, and then there's like the Freedom Waffle like grindy mid range Kinnan where it's like just slamming draw inches, drawing a billion cards. And
Yeah. But yeah, the Golgari guy, what was his name again?
White, Wight,
The Reliquary.
of the Reliquary.
That could be spicy. People won't expect it.
Yeah, it is sorcery speed. So it doesn't have haste, and I don't have haste enablers like I would like a Tyvar, but it's still a 2/2 that is a blocker early. It can trade with a Timna, and it's vigilant, so it can tax a little bit of that early mana, or like Ancient Tomb or Mana Vault pings and just tax onto that. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
what about
Very
you,
nice.
Delight? You got any delightful spice over there?
You guys can be the judge of the spice. So again, I've only been on Atraxa or Sephiroth for about a month now, maybe just over. So still learning a lot. I'll give full credit to NATO64 Zen Cat Food. I copy pasted his build just to get into it right now, and haven't made any changes yet. But definitely looking at some stuff after MagicCon Vegas, after a couple of local events, and playing with you guys locally. So what I've come to realize is I don't have any way really to get food chain back if it's removed. At the moment, the only way I can do it is with endurance, and then I got to dig for it or tutor for it or whatever. So I've been really debating shifting woodland as another way. So I've got like maybe one land flex slot. Potentially thinking about removing Gemstone Caverns, honestly. If I don't get it for the pregame, it tends to be just a dead land. Or if I get the Atraxa flip, I'm never picking the Gemstone, right? So if I had that option of the Shifting Woodlands, not only is that a way to recur food chain, but also anything else that I've lost that's important. So probably going to figure out a way to put that one in. I've also been thinking about some more flicker effects. I don't really have anything outside of Kitten, and there's been a few times since Atraxa is such a heavy clone target once I land Atraxa to be able to negate somebody else's clone effect as well as get my own Atraxa flip again to continue to refill my hand. Seems intriguing. So debating how to lean a little bit more into Kitten and or Flicker, even though some people these days are talking about removing Kitten. And then kind of the third thing I've been debating here is I've seen the Hoarding Broodlord Sonhalf kind of A plus B combo, and that seems pretty intriguing because I run Eldritch Evolution. I could also run like a Neoform, so I have Finale of Devastation and Eldritch Evolution. So potentially pulling out Finale, which is also eliminating a win con just with creature swings. But if I were to Neoform, Eldritch Evolution, so forth, Atraxa into Broodlord, tutor the Sonhalf, or then getting the two Broodlords, getting the food chain and the Mist Hollow Griffin right away, to be able to pump out both food chain and Mist Hollow Griffin that quickly in the same turn, I feel like is a pretty good advantage. So that might be the spiciest tech I'm thinking of, but it's not even new or unheard of. Just kind of copying a new thing, right?
I like it.
Yeah.
We've got a chat sounding off. Modern Hippie in chat asks, no Noxious Revival?
So that has also been on the list for sure. I currently don't run it in there simply because that wasn't on the list I originally copied from. But that's another one I've been debating. Pay 2 life, pull something back from the yard. Pretty solid all around. So probably we'll figure that out. So in terms of things to take out then, after playing a Winota deck yesterday and staring down the face of a null rod and whatever the new white flying thing is, that's
Carrion Conqueror.
there we go. Yeah. I just had so many dead cards in hand, a couple talismans and a wish claw. So I might remove a couple rocks to put in some other stuff. Or there's, a few mana dorks. So like I've got Elves of Deep Shadow, which is nice for the Atraxa black mana, but I have plenty of other black sources. Maybe even pull out the Avacyn's Pilgrim, since it only taps for white. So those monocolored dorks type of thing.
He's
And then
into that bracket 3 mentality that Matt has.
why do you say that?
Speaking of Matt,
Take out the rocks.
He says in chat that no ephemerate, which is one that you were talking about putting on the list.
Yep. So exactly, that's where I'm thinking. Pull out a 1 mana dork for a 1 mana ephemerate or similar, or potentially the Touch the Spirit Realm type of thing.
Great card.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And then what's that?
Uninteractable. Meaning
Yep.
that it's a channeling ability.
And then, because I'm a 4-color and I don't run Emergent Zone, I do have Born Upon a Wind, and I run Teferi, Grand Abolisher, and Silence, debating throwing in a Voice of Victory as well for one more, option to defend myself on my turn. Because I'm not necessarily trying to win at instant speed. I've got a pretty good interaction package. But yeah, still running plenty of rocks, just probably going to lighten up on it. Looking at my deck list right now, I have 15 artifacts, most of which are some type of rock, running 4 different talismans, so I could probably pull back on that to add in some other tech.
Probably, I think one of the first artifacts that you probably would want to take out if you're considering dropping your artifact count is Opal, if you're on Opal.
Yeah, I do run Opal. I did play that last night, and it was dead the entire game because I didn't get enough artifacts out.
So. Only reason it's in there is for the kitten combo. I'm telling you, it's a trap. It's a trap.
For sure. Yep.
Because that's one of the very few mana positive rocks that you can go off of.
Yeah. And then the last thing I've been debating pulling out for a few weeks now is Culling Ritual. So it was just right. So I was just watching.
Cut the podcast, listeners. Don't listen to this man. He's crazy.
So hear me out though, because again, I'm running so many rocks. I've run into several times where I have Culling Ritual in hand and I don't want to cast it because it's going to hurt me more than it hurts the rest of the board. I was even just watching a Spike Feeder video from a week ago or so where I think his name's Aaron is playing Atraxa. In their post game, debrief, he was saying the exact same thing. He's like, I didn't want to play it because he was going to hurt himself more than everybody else. So that'll be a tough one because there are its moments where I just completely neuter everybody else and turbo out into the Atraxa and food chain. But yeah, it's definitely on the potential cut list.
Oof, that's a rough one.
Culling Ritual is the new dockside, so I play it.
Sure.
I also have those decisions where it's like I put out a rock, I put out my Thrasios, but everyone else is putting out a bunch of other stuff too. Manifest creatures, talismans, and they're just getting ahead of me, and I just have to be like, okay, well, I have to sacrifice, paying 2 more for my Thrasios next time, because it's still just a board wipe in essence. Just think of it as like a day of judgment.
Yeah,
But
especially after you slam an Atraxa to just like, bah, I'm a Culling Ritual.
If I get it after I have Atraxa out, I'm much more likely to want to cast it. If I don't yet have Atraxa, that's the problem.
It can also get you to Atraxa.
If I've got the correct land base or can float the right colors, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trust me,
we'll have to
I'm
see.
not
I
wanting to remove it, but I've been thinking about it a little bit.
Yeah, that card is. I just see people cast it and then just win every damn time. I hate it, and it's so backbreaking. Even if they don't win, like it's so backbreaking for my deck. It's on my short list of cards that are just.
In terms of other lands, though, because again, I know even pulling out Gemstone Caverns is debatable. I feel like I could. I'm running Tarnished Citadel. I've got all the fetches and the duels. Tarnished Citadel, bolting myself for a color doesn't seem all necessary all the time. Um, but yeah, I've got 28 lands right now, so we'll see what
Yeah.
happens there.
What's it called? Matt took out Tarnished Citadel. He was not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Cam, you're off of Chrome Mox too, right?
No, I'm still on Chromox. I'm off Gemstone. I've thought about cutting Mox Diamond, but I'm still on them. They've come in handy the last few times. Um,
Yeah, I cut Chrome Mox myself.
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. These days, there's so much value in every card in the deck. It is hard to pick an imprint target for sure.
Hmm.
It doesn't feel
Yeah,
good to get rid of stuff all the time.
Yeah. I
yeah, and I'm not Turbo Tavesh either.
Sure.
Because there are lists that are Turbo Tavesh, and because I'm not on Cabal Ritual, I'm on Dark Ritual, and I'm on Culling the Weak, but I'm not on like Cabal Ritual, so I'm not looking to turbo out Tavesh, so I don't need that in the deck.
So I've actually been working on like a theory in my head that's had to do with like Chromox and Gemstone and shit like that. And I've been, and I don't mean this in like a weird conceited way, but my win rate's been really high, and I've been trying to see what the correlation between that is. When I stopped mulliganing so hard, when I started taking sevens, first and second sevens more often, I've been winning a lot more games, and that's why I wanted Thrasios in the command zone, because with Thrasios in the command zone, I can mulligan to anything. I can mulligan to interaction. My game plan is now to stall out, get Thrasios out, and draw until I have more of a direction with a creature tutor. If I draw mana, my job is to get out Thrasios and pump out and start generating value by drawing with Thrasios. If I draw tutors, then my job is just to whatever, I creature tutor, get Thrasios later. So it allows me to keep a lot of first and second sevens. And I was thinking about it more and more, and I think we mulligan too hard in CDH. I think everybody's looking too specifically, and I think like if we look at just like in Magic's history, companions got nerfed, and then some of them got banned just because it was one extra card in your hand. So
That's a
I
good
think
point.
like the difference between somebody mulling to 5 just because they want a necropotence or because they want to try to jam something, and somebody else keeping a 7 knowing that they can like pivot and get to where they need to go. I don't know. I think people are losing the value of keeping deep hands, and I've noticed a lot of games I've come back from seat 4 because I've just had more cards in hand, and so that was one of the reasons I cut Gemstone. Is if I don't have it in my first or second 7, it hurts really bad in a mulligan, and it's a trap card I think that makes you want to keep. And my deck isn't like an Atraxa deck where I'm trying to push out my commander super fast. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Sound logic. I feel somewhat the same about not mulliganing too low. I prefer to keep, up to 6 if possible. I've been getting pretty lucky with second sevens these days or a 6. But going down to 5 or 4 with such a mana heavy commander, um, personally for Atraxa, that can be a bit rough unless I, have the One Ring or Ristic on turn 2 or something like that.
Yeah, when it comes to mulligans, for me, it took me a while to understand and get the hang of choosing what game plan am I doing. So when I'm mulliganing, I have to look at is this gonna be a Tavesh game or is this gonna be a Thrasios game? And I have to look around. Is there stuff that's gonna come at me fast? Then I need to be playing Thrasios because I won't be able to defend Tavesh well enough. He'll be constantly pressured. Or is it going to be on a slower pod where there's not going to be many creatures and I can turbo out a Tavesh on turn 3 and just creating the thralls is going to be enough defense.
Yeah.
And so
So,
my mulligans are looking at that aspect for me.
yeah. Well, so I'm gonna use this moment to pivot here. I think we've been talking here for close to an hour or just over, and I think Julian or Magician, you just helped us come up with one of our next talking points for our next show, or one of the next ones is mulliganing, because we're about to do this 48-person tournament. We're going to be facing a lot of different people. I know all of us are going to be facing that hard choice of what hands to keep, what seat we're in, what do we anticipate from decks we haven't seen yet. So maybe we take even better notes with our mulligans coming up and kind of talk about that a little bit.
That's a good call.
Yeah. So from back in the day, I guess you could say a year ago, Nico and I were on a store team where I was captain, and this was Nico's first introduction to competitive 60 card Magic. And do you remember what I'm maybe referencing on what I feel like you should be doing then for this tournament? If
Uh,
we're talking about note taking,
Not specifically, no. I'm sure I'll remember as soon as you say it. But
life tracking with paper, not
uh,
digital.
yeah, definitely. I do that actually now that when we're playing in like an actual tournament setting for sure. Yeah, because I've seen too many people knock their dice over, phone loses power, and or battery runs out, and the app fails, all that kind of stuff. Or
Right.
as soon as the player's knocked out, they're like, "Oh, that's my phone, taking that," right?
Yep. And then you're scrambling to figure out life totals. But just coming from a judge perspective as well as a grinder perspective for everyone out there, um, having a pen and paper, even if even if your notes are chicken scratch and you're the only one that can understand them, that's kind of an advantage. But um, writing down life totals because that way there is a order to which everything has happened in the game as far as life total changes, and sometimes you'll have to walk that back and figure out, did I take 2 damage? Was that commander damage? Am I dead to commander next turn? Or is, did how much life did you take off of that necropotence? How many cards should be in your hand? Things like that. So I highly recommend in a tournament setting, utilizing pen and paper to track everyone's life totals, not just your own, because it is your responsibility also to keep the game state correct.
Mm-hmm.
And also, sometimes people give information freely
Yeah, that is
or
true.
accidentally. And it is completely up to you to be able to write it down and use that for yourself in maybe a more advantageous point in the game. So, utilizing pen and paper. Pro tip.
Definitely. Thank you, Judge.
Yep, Judge.
All right, guys. So we want to wrap up our first episode here. Some shameless plugs and a closeout.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, again, I guess I'll get started. So appreciate you guys. I know we've been playing and jamming CDH a lot more lately, and we're all excited for our first episode and to continue this forward. To our viewers and audience, not sure we really know how quickly we'll be pushing content. Maybe a couple episodes a month. Um, Again, thanks to our LGS Clovis Cards and Comics, Clovis, Fresno, California, in the Central Valley, and hoping to grow a bigger audience and get more into this for sure.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us this week. Sorry, Magician, you wanted to go ahead?
Yeah, no, I was gonna basically say, yeah, thanks for coming in, guys. Appreciate you guys. We're gonna be here maybe in the not so distant future. We're gonna be creating we're gonna have a YouTube channel, so we'll be looking for subscribers on there. It doesn't cost you anything. Like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube. And
Did we even say our name? I don't think we said our name.
No,
it's the grand reveal at the end.
Yeah, that's what we were waiting for. That's what everybody's
plan, right?
That's why they're all here. That's what they've all been hanging out for, all the viewers.
Yeah, in response to that question, I'd like to pose our name.
Yeah, luckily I put it in the title, so it's in the title as well. So yeah, in response, this is the In Response podcast.
CDH content, tournaments, everything happening in the world of CDH, and maybe some casual commander here and there. But we're going to be mostly on the CDH TDH train.
I'll be dragging that casual commander wagon behind us a little bit for sure.
A little shoestring back there.
Yep.
Yeah. Come on.
Well, yeah.
Cam, what you got?
No, thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate everybody coming in, all the viewers, Modern Hippies, Soaked in Butt, More Thang. Thank you guys all for hanging out. Yep. We have people in chat requesting stickers, in response stickers, and bracket 3 mentality stickers. So
No.
I think we might have to make something like that happen.
For sure.
But yeah, thanks chat for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. We're going to try to put out weekly episodes, so stay tuned. Make sure that you guys follow us on Apple Podcasts, which is, I guess, used to be iTunes. I don't know. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you guys get your podcasts. And like Magician said, check us out on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll be creating the YouTube channel and managing that here pretty quickly once we get a couple episodes under our belt. So keep an eye out, fellas.
Sounds good. And with that, everybody, have a good week.